everyone,
and welcome to
Dad and Me Love History.
Dad and me love a whole lot of history. We could be the greatest team that the world has ever seen. Dad and me love a whole lot of history.
Shout out to Koba, one of our listeners. He really enjoys the World War II episodes.
Yeah, I love World War II. I don't think that's a secret. I've written 2 World War II novels.
World War II fans should check out our episodes number 10, 21, 26, 28 and 29.
Yeah, there's a lot to find on World War II. But we also hope you enjoy history that's not World War II all the time. Today, we're going back further in history to investigate the time an African empire invaded and ruled over a part of Europe.
What?
I know! And not just for a few years as well, for hundreds of years. We'll tell you exactly how long later. Today you're going to hear the word Moors used a lot. Now that word Moors comes from the ancient Roman province of Mauritania. That's what they called North Africa when the Romans ruled it 2,000 years ago. So people from North Africa were known as Moors.
So we're gonna find out when, where, why and how the Moors invaded Europe.
What?
So close.
Yeah, I'm just showing James a map. I guess we might put this in the extras at the end of North Africa and Spain, and you know how they're practically touching. It's so close. Fun fact from me: after the Moors no longer ruled in Europe, William Shakespeare wrote the play called Othello, and the hero was a North African Moor. Joke Corner. What did one European say to the other when he watched one African invader and then another get off their ships?
There's more?
What did the audience shout out at the end of a performance of Shakespeare's play Othello?
We want more!
And finally from Joke Corner, what did James say about Dad's dad jokes?
Please no more. When did the Moors invade Spain?
In AD 711, a group of North African Muslims, who were known as Moors, captured what is today Spain and Portugal. The land the Moors ruled there became wealthy. Education and the arts and sciences became really strong. Over time, the control of the Moors weakened as centuries went by. Many Christians didn't like Moorish rule. For centuries, Christian groups expanded their own territory within Portugal and Spain. And this all ended in a big war in 1492, when Catholic leaders Ferdinand and Isabella won the Granada War. The Spanish king and queen, Ferdinand and Isabella, now ruled over Spain and Portugal. And of course that meant that the Moors were expelled. So the Moors' Muslim rule over Spain lasted for over 700 years before it ended then in 1492.
That's a long time.
It is, isn't it? It's not like the Roman, it's about the same length as the Roman Empire, but for many of us, not so famous.
Yeah. So why did the Moors invade Spain in the first place?
First of all, the Moors had an opportunity. You often find this in history. If there's one civilization, one group that's becoming more powerful, and they see some neighbours who look weak, then they're going to take that opportunity to invade. At the time, before the Moors ruled Spain, Christian Visigoths, as they were known, had been the main force in the region, but they became really disunified.
So they were fighting themselves.
Yep, they were fighting themselves. That never makes you stronger. At first, the Moors didn't take over Spain so much as just attack it sometimes. They went over the sea from northern Africa to Spain, and then they would do what's called caravan raiding to gain riches. Do you know what a caravan means in this context?
No.
So the original meaning of caravan is not like what you pull behind a car. It would be usually a long procession of travellers, and it could be different. But in Africa, they'd have camels. You could have horses and carts at times, moving from one place to another, and usually taking, because you're moving from one place to another, probably like for a long time moving, you're taking everything you own with you. So when rich people did this, they were carrying their wealth with them. And so if you attacked these caravans, then you would of course expect to get some treasures. Some people say that because the Moors were Muslim, that religion was a big reason why they invaded Spain, to spread their Muslim beliefs. But at the time, it was probably more about gaining wealth, and they taxed non-Muslims more, so they got more money out of them. Elsewhere, outside of Europe, after the Muslims conquered the entire Arabian Peninsula, which they did first before they attacked Spain, they made it Islamic, which means Muslim, and that was in the 7th century. They were seeking to spread their faith across the world. They conquered the Middle East far into Africa. They conquered what had been Christian provinces from Syria and Palestine to Egypt, Tunisia, Algeria and Morocco, which is the bit of North Africa nearest to Spain.
Yeah, you can see Africa from Europe, or Europe from Africa, because Morocco in Africa is only 9 miles away from Spain in Europe.
So it wasn't far to travel in 711 AD when they conquered Spain from Morocco.
Fun fact, by 751 AD, Muslims had also conquered India and central China.
Yes, Muslims ruled over an area greater than the Roman Empire had been at its peak. Muslim power was not seriously challenged until Pope Urban II, so that's the Catholic leader, but he was also like an army leader in a way back then. He launched the first crusades in 1095 AD. The crusades was when Christian knights and soldiers tried to fight their way to the Holy Land, today Israel, Palestine, to claim Jerusalem, the main city there, and of course very important religious city, to claim it back and put it under Christian control.
How did the Muslims rule over Spain and Portugal?
For a time after the Moors invaded, Muslim Spain was relatively peaceful. Like I mentioned earlier, the economy did well and the Moors built some great buildings which are still there today. Very much a Muslim style, Islamic style of architecture. Education improved and there was at least some level of tolerance for Jews and Christians. In fact, at the time, Muslims were generally accepting of Jews and Christians who they saw as fellow people of the book. The book being for Muslims the Quran, but the Quran is pretty much the Old Testament of the Bible, which is also the Jewish holy book, the Torah. So we've got the same, in the Christian faith we say Bible stories, but obviously they just use a different word. The same stories and history there, so much in common. But by 1031 AD, things were changing. That's when Christian kingdoms in northern Spain gained strength and began a series of battles of reconquest that would eventually end in that 1492 total victory for King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella.
We love history, baby. We love history.
We're almost done, but here are some questions to see if you were listening.
When did the Moors invade Spain? Number 1.
And number 2, why did the Moors invade Spain?
Number 3. What were crusades?
Number 4, which Christian leaders became king and queen of all of Spain when the Moors left?
Number 5. When were the Moors forced out of Spain?
Number 6, which episode numbers should World War II fans check out?
Bonus question. Which was your most favourite dad joke? I mean, Moor joke. And should we do more of them? Well, that's it from Dad and me.
Have you told your friends about this podcast yet? Tell them about this episode.
And please review us on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
And you can find us on Facebook,
Instagram,
and Twitter.
Bye from now.
From Dad
and me.
Love History.
Dad and me love a whole lot of history. We could be the greatest team that the world has ever seen. Dad and me love a whole lot of history.
The Slightest Chance is my latest World War II thriller love story based around real history. After the Japanese won the Battle of Hong Kong, a young English woman named Gwen, who was a real person, was the only female to escape from a Japanese camp, and she did so on foot, and then faced an 800-mile journey across occupied China. By the end of this novel, you will have learned all about her extraordinary adventure and how Gwen was secretly carrying information which the very top of the British government would use in the fight against Imperial Japan. Also from real history, included in the novel is the mass breakout led by a one-legged Chinese admiral, and then there's the Japanese guard, Kiyoshi Watanabe, whose Christian faith pushed him to risk his life helping Japan's enemies. Find out more at paulletters.com. The Slightest Chance, when your enemy is your best friend.
Dad's new novel is now available to order online at all the usual places. For details, go to paulletters.com or click on the link from dadandmelovehistory.com.
Tell me when I can speak.
I'd say whenever you're ready.
Hello, everyone. So,
Joke Corner. I'm hoping James hasn't come across these jokes before. We'll see. Well, that is it. That is it from Dad and me. Oh, no, sorry, that's supposed to be you.
Well, that's it from Dad and me. Bye from now.
From
Dad
and me.
Love history.
Except we did that the wrong way around. Can we do that where I say Dad?
Okay. Perfect timing.
It is good timing, and that's a good length as well. Excellent.